Commandant's Girl, written by Pam Jenoff, is a historical fiction that centers around the time of Nazi occupation in Poland during World War II. The novel begins in the year 1939 and tells the story of 19-year-old Emma. Emma has only been married for 3 weeks when her native Poland is seized by Nazi Germany. Emma is of Jewish heritage, so the arrival of the Nazis means that within days, Emma's husband Jacob, a member of the Jewish resistance, is forced to flee and her parents are forced into Krakow's ghetto. Poland had an estimated population of 3.5 million Jews in the autumn of 1939. Ghettos were segregated districts in the cities in which the Nazis forcibly relocated Jewish citizens to live under miserable, unsanitary and discriminate conditions for the exploitation and persecution of local Polish Jews. But Emma is able to smuggle out of the ghetto through a hole in the wall, where she finds refuge with Jacob's Catholic aunt Krysia. Now a Jew living in plain sight during a time when any Jew who lived outside the ghetto could be punished under capital punishment, Emma assumes a new Christian identity. She becomes Anna Lipowski. Emma's situation is complicated when she catches the eye of Commandant Richwalder, second in charge of Poland's general government and a high-ranking Nazi official, who hires Emma to work as his assistant. Urged by the Jewish resistance to use her unique position to access details of the Nazi occupation and their plans for Poland's Jews, Emma risks her life, her safety, and her marriage to supply information to the cause. But as the war intensifies, as well as the atrocities committed towards the Jews, Emma finds herself conflicted between her love and loyalty towards Jacob and the resistance and her newfound fondness towards the commandant, building towards a climax that threatens to expose her disguise as Emma Lipowski and endanger those she holds most dear. Just as Emma, disguised as Anna Lipowski, was hidden by her aunt Krysia from the Nazis, the Holocaust Exhibition and Learning Center, which features the real stories of survivors of the Holocaust and Nazi occupation, also includes real-life survivors' testimonies of Jewish citizens who hid from the Nazis. This includes Margaret Kagan, who was forcibly relocated into Kłana's ghetto when the Nazis gained control of Lithuania in 1941. Margaret, her future husband Joseph, and her mother escaped the ghetto by sneaking away from a slave labor brigade to their hiding place in the attic of a local factory. They remained in their hiding place for 9 months with the help of their friends, who risked their lives to do so. They were fortunately spared when they were liberated in July 1944 when the Soviet army reached Kłana. One of the few positives about this book was Jenoff's focus on the Jewish resistance groups. This is an aspect of World War II that seems to be glossed over because many Holocaust fictions and media fail to reference the resistance efforts, and it is also something that seems to be missing in our education curriculum when discussing the war. During World War II, resistance fighters created underground networks, led rescue missions, and launched attacks against the oppressive Nazi regime, despite great personal risk. Despite historical evidence of these organizations, the pushback against the Nazis from the Jews themselves is an aspect of the war that is not generally spoken about enough. Because of this lack of discussion regarding the resistance, Jenoff's characterization of Alec, leader of the resistance, and others such as Jacob and Marta, both active members of the resistance, puts at the forefront the brave and selfless actions of the real resistance fighters and puts in the spotlight an aspect of the war that is often overlooked. But the novel has several downfalls and historical inaccuracies. The real-life deputy in command to the governor of Poland was a Nazi called Joseph Bühler, and he was definitely not an individual who, like the commandant, felt such sorrow at the plight of the Jews in Auschwitz that he needed to sit down. I don't believe it is a novelist's job to accurately relay historical events. That is a historian's job. A novelist's job is to create fiction, even if its setting is one that takes place in the past during a historical time. But creating fiction does not mean changing history, which Pam Jenoff does through the character of Commandant Richwalder. Joseph Bühler, the real-life deputy in command to the governor of Poland, was present at the Wannsee Conference in 1942. where the most senior Nazi government officials such as Reinhard Heydrich and Adolf Eichmann plotted the final solution to the Jewish question. This was essentially the code name for the genocide of the Jews and culminated in the Holocaust. Poland's deputy in command was no romantic, misunderstood widower with a tortured past. Pam Jenoff explains that this book would remain true to the spirits of those who lived and died during World War II. However, this book seems more like an attempt to capitalize on a tragic period of time that is familiar to people to sell a story. In summary, I would rate this book a 3 out of 10. It is an easy read and brings to light aspects of World War II often looked over in our general knowledge. The historical fiction that romanticizes some of the most abominable figures in history and presents a forbidden colonial melodrama between a Nazi and a Jew is not angsty and slow burning, but uncomfortable, unsettling, and deeply disrespectful to the memory of those who lost their lives under Nazi dictatorship.